there are two aspects to how we don't just create a network, but we affect global change. And one of those aspects is the fact that every circle is going to have leaders, and those leaders are going to be part themselves of something which is called the Forum. The Forum will be meeting once a month to decide on specific things where all the circles are here, and all the citizens part of the circles are here within this, so that we actually are going to be physically voting on things. You're never going to see another world tour where the people on the world tour were because I or someone at some management level decided we're going to have those people on the world tour. All the people on the world tours will be people decided by the Senate who says we could have this person, this person, this person, which one would we rather have? And at the same time, where they go will be dependent also on all of this. So whereas I said, I think we should go to London, I think we should go to South Africa, no more. Now what would happen is that these guys would get together and say, well, you know what? We've all got together. If a whole group of circles get together, like in London, then we have something called an arc. It's like a city, right? So all of a sudden now, all the circles in London get together, all leaders know each other, because you know each other already, connected up online, meet regularly. You have arc meetings, which is just like momentums, which allow us actually to say, right, who are we going to have there? Who actually is going to be most relevant? So it's all decided by us, and we can vote on it. So we have the voting system online, just like American Idol, except we're no longer voting for our entertainment. We're now voting for our transformation. And so from there, we then have the forum, which is deciding not only those things, but when we want to actually change the rules on the circles. We want to change the rules on how we want to sponsor other circles. How we want to change the rules on basically, one of the causes that we actually see as being most important to be putting online, which ones basically people should be promoting personally themselves. So every one of us has a way to actually move things through. One other thing, right now, what the governments of the world, which includes the UK, which includes the US, have become really, really good at, is a way that anyone who's part of that government, which means that here is the House of Commons, in America is the House of Representatives, anyone in that government can actually say, I've got a good idea, I think we should change this. And then they have something called a bill, right? And then that bill basically has to get enough people to say, yeah, we think this is a good idea. If they doesn't get that, guess what? You can't actually submit it. So as a result, it's like, well, that's interesting, I thought it was a good idea, no one else did. But if your circle says, no, that's a good idea, then it goes to the next level, right? The next level actually goes up, is the yarn. And then we'll discuss it and say, no, that's really not a good idea. It's like, actually, we think that's a really good idea, we should do that. But here's some amendments to it. So now you amend the bill. And then it goes up to the next level. And the next level then becomes the forum. And the forum goes, all right, we're actually going to put that in. Someone says, I think it's a really good idea that we put together a whole new way to do X or Y on this mobile phone. And I'm going to actually think we can create something that everyone in the world should be using, because then we're going to tag it totally different. And everyone goes, that's a good idea. So we always keep up with the latest technology. We always keep up with the latest things going on in the world. But this is not a bill of rights. This is not a bill of law. Because that's what these governments have become really good at, really efficient at making new rules. So we end up with more rules all the time. But it doesn't actually help us, because those rules actually not flow. So what we have instead is a bill of flow. A bill of flow, which means any one of us can fill it out. You've got a good idea, you fill it out, you get the circles to support it, you get the arts to support it, you can actually change the world on your own straight through the system. So this magnifies our ability to change. No one in the world has figured that out so far. And we actually do it through all the languages we have. But that means we're just going to be really good at efficiency. Which means we go out and we say, oh, well, we're going to have big events. Who's the best people to have in those events? And we might have someone who actually goes against the values of Excel. So that's where, like in every democracy, and this is a pure democracy here, because at the moment, most of the governments of the world are not pure democracies. They are elected monarchies. We have a democratic system once every 4 years when we elect the monarchy, but after that we have no say. It's the monarchy who decides what's going to happen until 4 years later, when we realize they made big mistakes, and now we're going to see who else can make less mistakes. Right? Crazy. Crazy. Whereas here, we say, no, every single month we check it out. Because on this side, we have the forum, but like every democracy which has a balance of power, because you have to have that balance, we have on this side something called the Senate. And the Senate, and I don't want to really compare the House of Commons, House of Lords, to the Senate and the House of Representatives, but it is the base that these people here are there for much longer. Because this one here is simply the founding members. That's it. And we are the guardians of the light, which means when we look at anything that gets decided over here, we have veto power over any of it as a group, where we meet up once a month as well to see what's happening here. But the founding members are looking at all of that from the basis of, is this something which actually is in line with our purpose of effective giving, right? So this is about the effective giving side, it's about worldwide wealth. Of course, everyone on this side understands that, but sometimes they may decide on things where we'll have to go back and say, no, we need to amend that because it doesn't do enough to hold our purpose. And the founding members, in 100 years' time, we look back, is still going to be those founding members in the first decade of this millennium, who are the ones who actually understood what was going on at that point and lifted it through. Living in Singapore, it's like that. It's like now, all of a sudden everyone's comfortable, everything's enough, and Lee Kuan Yew keeps on going on and on again about the fact it wasn't always this way. That we can't be complacent, that things can still change. And he's keeping on harping on about the fact that he cares so much about what was created some 50 years earlier by him and by people around him. And we're going to be in exactly the same situation. It just so happened that when the founding fathers in America did exactly the same thing, when they came about to do that, and the group there that was the first group of the Senate was about 36 people, right? Well, we're not starting with 36 people, we're starting with 3,200 people. And we're not starting with 36 people in one place, which is Pennsylvania, which is Philadelphia. We're starting from an entire global position with 3,200 people all around the world. And that's where we basically have started with that founding membership, which is, and by the way, this is going to be this is a virtual place, but you're going to find this place. It's probably not going to be in Second Life, but it's going to be whatever is going to be the social network just created around Second Life. We talked about the lighthouse. You're actually going to see the lighthouse. The lighthouse is actually going to exist as a three-dimensional social network in the future, where you can actually go into whichever level you want, and everything's going to be there. And so this is about our ability to use future technology before it even arrives, so we're already ready for it when it comes. And that is the basis of how we're moving forward. By the way, there are a whole bunch of things that we're going to be doing on the founding membership side as well. There's going to be many circles that are set up. I'll set up some circles just for founding members as well, because there's a level of trust that happens on this side that doesn't on this side yet. And we're also, at the moment, for the first year, going to be saying that you can't even start up a circle unless you're a founding member. Because we want people who've been around enough to experience the external environment to know it's not as simple as just starting up a circle. You need to know that it's got to be fun, it's got to be inspiring, it's got to be transformational. Because if it's not, you're in a circle. And that's a really important part.